Hi everybody, welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles, and this week it's an end to an era. Addison Library gets a nod and OHS RoboCats get an award. All that and more, the Oxford News begins right now. For 66 years, the Sherman family ran the only newspaper in town and was only the second family to own the newspaper since 1898. This week, all that changed with the announcement that Jim Sherman Jr., Luann Offer, and Susan Speed, heirs to the parents' newspaper, sold the weekly publication along with the Lake Orion Review, the Clarkston News, the Ortonville Citizen, the Advertiser, Penny Stretcher, and the Big Deal. In 1955, Jim and Hazel Sherman purchased the Leader and created the family business with Jim, Luann, and Susan, all working with Mom and Dad until 1993, when young Jim took over as president. In 1966, the Shermans purchased the Clarkston News, followed by the Lake Orion Review in 1971 and the Ortonville Citizen in 1995. Mr. Sherman Sr. credited the success of the papers to the communities. According to Sherman Publications owner and president Jim Jr., he said his sisters are excited, he and his sisters are excited to sell the lot to the best media group in Midwest, which is another family-owned and operated newspaper, View Newspaper Group. They have been partners and associates with the Shermans for many years. Sherman says the group understands the importance of keeping the Sherman legacy dating back to 1955 in print. View has a great reputation at the community newspaper businesses and is owned by Rick Burrow. Founded in 2003, also published the Tri-County Times, a locally owned community newspaper which now includes 21 community newspapers in Lapeer, Oakland, Genesee, Livingston, Sanilac, Huron, Saginaw, Shiawassee, Montcalm, and Ionia counties. In their nearly 30 years of running the paper, the Sherman siblings insisted on adhering to their parents' relevant local news values for their readers. Mr. Sherman Sr. felt everyone had a story, therefore the paper was never out of content as they continued to feature people, businesses, high school seniors, sports, and nonprofit groups. The Shermans will surely be missed. And speaking of history, partly due to the logistics of the never-ending conflict and partially due to a collective emotion of a divided country, it is no secret in the late 60s and early 70s when Vietnam veterans were finally coming home, they were not greeted with fanfare, welcome home parades, fireworks, or even a friendly handshake. This is why the American Legion Post 108 hosted a welcome home luncheon to all Vietnam veterans last week, and our Kyle Snage was there. So let's watch.
Welcome home. Thank you. Thank you. Here you go, sir. Welcome home. Okay. Welcome home. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome home. Thank you. Welcome home, sir. Welcome home. Thank you. Welcome home. Semper Fi, brother. Welcome home, brother. Welcome home, sir. So you know what a big deal this is. These celebrations are going on at American Legion Post, VFW Post across the country. Just to give you an idea, today on Facebook, for example, for veterans with a Facebook account, they can download a frame to place a picture of yourself on Facebook. Your loved ones can do the same thing. Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, they'll be hosting an online commemorative celebration March 29th today with a live webcast and messages of thanks on Facebook also. You can also record a short video for next year and you can upload it to Facebook. The VVA, the Vietnam Veterans of America, they want to see photos, poems, artwork, and stuff uploaded to their site and you can do that next year prior to the event. Vietnam Veterans lapel pins, that's what we're going to be giving out today. The commander will be awarding those to Vietnam veterans along with a certificate of thanks. Okay, now we would like to have the presentation of the Vietnam War Veterans Memorial Pin and certificates, and we'll have our commander do the honors. Welcome home. There you go, sir. Welcome home. Welcome home. Thank you. Welcome home. Welcome home, sir. Welcome home. Semper Fi, brother. Welcome home, brother. Welcome home, sir. Welcome home, sir. Welcome home. Welcome home. Yeah. To go this way. Welcome home. Semper Fi, brother. Welcome home, sir. Welcome home, sir. Welcome home, buddy.
In remembrance of our fallen veterans, those who have served to make this post possible, those who are serving now, and make this part of a prayer. We got veterans all over this world right now, especially over there near Ukraine. Keep them in your prayers. God bless and keep them.
God bless. God bless.
A nice time was had by all, and thank you, Kyle. And the American Legion veterans continue to help members of the community. Last week, they donated additional funds to help support the grant being written by Oxford Township Communications and grant manager CJ Carnacchio, who plans to submit it to Fork County Community Foundation. The grant requires community financial support to award dollars for the fire department to purchase smoke detectors for families in need. Our Joe Hewitt was at the Legion when checks were handed out. Let's watch.
We're making a donation to the local Oxford Fire Department in the community for smoke detectors and carbon monoxide for elderly, disabled, and also people in need.
Well, we were contacted by CJ. He asked us if we'd be interested in trying to support the grant that he's going for. And we voted on it and decided to help the community, which in our mind helps veterans, and that's what we're all about.
My name is Sarah, and I just want to say thank you to you guys. This is huge. You guys are really giving back to the community here. We did something like this about 10 or 11 years ago, but these smoke detectors only last for 10 years, so it's important that we kind of get back into those homes that we installed them in 10 years ago and get them new updated ones. And you'll find a lot of these people have never, we did a couple installs already, have never had a carbon monoxide detector in their home in their whole lives. So this is huge. We'll be focusing mainly on veterans if we can, but there's a lot of people in the community that are going to benefit from this, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for what you do for the community.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks to the veterans and CJ for submitting this grant to a worthy cause. The veterans are not only the ones contributing to the support the smoke alarm grant. Carter Quality Hardwood Flooring also donated $500 to show community support for the grant. According to owner Jason Carter, this is his way of giving back to the community that he was raised in and that helped raise him. The fire department and Carnacchio are working together to secure the grant, and if awarded, the program will begin in mid-May of 2022. Carnacchio said he's been soliciting funds from community organizations and local businesses, and Carter saw the request. Thanks, Jason. Last week, the Addison Township Board finally gave a unanimous nod to the Township Library site plan, which had several housekeeping details to be worked out before the board gave its final approval. According to the Library Board President James Baldiga, the Township Board was opposed to the LED sign and was concerned about parking lot curfews. In addition, the board was concerned about a septic tank which had to be moved 8 feet. Even though this approval is a win, there's still much to be done before shovels break the earth, which is all woods right now, according to Baldiga. With a recent $500,000 federal appropriations win, fences, laying of mud mats, and cutting down trees are next in the plans. If you're interested in contributing to the library fund, the Friends of the Library is hosting a rest restaurant gift card raffle during the month of April. 3 prize drawings will be awarded, each consisting of gift card bundles from Oxford, Lakeville, and Leonard restaurants. The 3 winning tickets will be drawn on April 29th at the library. For more information to help the Addison Township Public Library project, go to the website at www.letsbuildalibrary.org. Donations are coming from communities all over, and the Oxford Community Schools recently received $300,000 from the Michigan High School Sports Program from MIAAA, Michigan High Schools Athletic Association, and the Steering Heights-based merchandise vendor EA Graphics of the Oxford Strong event t-shirts, and they were held throughout February. An Oxford Strong event was held throughout February, and February 4th was designated as the primary day for wearing the t-shirts. Additional funds post the sale brought a total of $310,000. The funds have been transferred to the National Compassion Fund for disbursement to support the victims of the November 30th tragedy at the high school. Spring is on its way, and so too are plans for spring sports. The Oxford Soccer League for Children with Special Needs is no exception. Next week, Seymour Lake Township Park will be hosting a new 10-week soccer league for both boys and girls, ages 12 and under with special needs. Organized by First Pick Sports, the players will be coached by professional soccer player Gabby Shriver, a 3-year veteran of Detroit Football Club. Shriver is also a board-certified behavior analyst, and she says every kid deserves a chance to be picked first, and combines her love of soccer with her passion for teaching children with special needs. The program will help achieve better physical health, develop fine and gross motor skills, boost self-esteem, and much more. To learn more about the program, visit firstpicksports.com. With spring comes tasks of getting all of our spring cleaning out of the way, and so too does the township have some spring cleaning to do. This month the township is asking people to remove all artificial wreaths and grave blankets from the graves at township cemeteries on Burdick, North Oxford Road, and Mount Pleasant Cemetery on Baldwin Road. Anything left behind will be removed and disposed of by cemetery maintenance workers. If you have any questions, contact the township clerk at 248-628-9787, extension 106. Well, that's all for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, you can catch us on Charter Channel 191, AT&T Channel 99, the Oxford Community Television YouTube and Facebook pages, or check out Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page or the Oxford Leader. And I'd like to thank them both for contributing to our news, and thank Kyle Snage for getting me on the air, and Connie Miller. And I'm Terry Stiles. Thanks for watching OCTV.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. U.S. auto safety regulators have finalized fuel economy standards for light-duty cars and trucks that are more stringent than a proposal in August, pushing automakers to further improve the fuel efficiency of gasoline-powered vehicles as the industry shifts to electrification. The U.S. Department of Transportation's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, on April 1st said its new standards would increase fuel efficiency by 8% per year for cars and light trucks in the 2024 and 2025 model years, and by 10% for the 2026. The rules will require an industry-wide fleet average of approximately 49 miles per gallon in the 2026 model year. NHTSA said U.S. gasoline consumption will be cut by more than $220 billion in comparison with a continuation of the Trump-era standards. Under the rule, consumer fuel costs will be reduced by about $192 billion for new vehicles sold through 2030. During his first month in office, President Joe Biden ordered a review of regulations on vehicle fuel economy and greenhouse gas emissions after the Trump administration in 2020 enacted less stringent improvements in mileage than those put in place under predecessor Barack Obama. NHTSA's fuel economy standards for the 2024 to 2026 model years fulfill its portion of Biden's order. During a press briefing on March 31st, a senior administration official said the new standards are the most stringent year-over-year requirements thus far, and that automakers will be able to meet the more stringent standards with continued investments in more efficient gasoline-powered vehicles and electric vehicles. The next round of standards will start with the 2027 model year, the official said. While NHTSA can set rules for 5 years at a time, the official added the agency has not determined which model years will be covered in the next rulemaking. Also, NHTSA has reinstated higher penalties for automakers whose vehicles do not comply with fuel economy standards for the 2019 model year and beyond. For 2019 to 2021 model years, the civil penalty rate is now $14, up from $5.50 for each tenth of a mile per gallon that an automaker's performance falls short of its compliance obligation, multiplied by the number of vehicles in its fleet. For 2022, the fine is $15. Automakers argued in 2016 that the increased penalty would raise industry compliance costs by at least $1 billion annually. NHTSA's more stringent fuel economy standards come as U.S. consumers face high prices at the pump, triggered in part by a reduction in oil supply amid Russia's deadly invasion of Ukraine and rising inflation. The EPA in December finalized its rule on vehicle greenhouse gas emissions for the 2023 to 26 model years that, alongside NHTSA's fuel economy standards, could act as a regulatory driver for speeding up the industry's electrification plans. Under the EPA's final rule, emission standards increase between about 5 and 10% each model year. The standards mandate an industry-wide target of 161 grams of carbon dioxide per mile, or 40 miles per gallon on window stickers by the 2026 model year. Aspects of NHTSA's fuel economy standards have been harmonized with the EPA's rule in some areas to enable alignment and allow automakers to use the same compliance strategies across the two rules, the senior administration official said. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back. Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Crows can recognize themselves in mirrors, use tools, and plan for the future. All cognitive abilities more similar to those seen in non-human primates than in those of most other birds. This intelligence may be related to them having an unusually high number of brain cells involved in processing information. Felix Strockens at the Ruhr University in Bochum in Germany and his colleagues analyzed the brains of common ostriches, brown Warren chickens, racing homing pigeons, and 3 members of the corvid family, carrion crows, or Corvus coron, hooded crows, Corvus cornix, and rooks, Corvus fugilicus. The Animals had all been killed for food or pest control. The researchers were able to analyze the nuclei of all the bird's brain cells using a method called isotropic fractionation. This allowed them to categorize the types of cells present in each brain and estimate how many there were of each. The team found that corvids had the highest number of interneurons, small cells that pass on local signals and are involved in cognitive processing. These cells process information received from sensory neurons and send inputs to motor neurons. They are involved in tasks such as decision-making, future planning, and risk assessment. Many studies have shown that different subsets of interneurons are extremely important in behaviors that are termed intelligence in both mammals and birds, says Strauchens. The corvids each had about 290 million interneurons compared with 124 million in ostriches and around 40 million in the pigeons and chickens. Humans, for comparison, have about 1.3 billion interneurons. The difference was especially stark between ostriches and corvids because the brain of an ostrich weighs nearly double that of a crow's brain. If we think about the neuron as the main processing unit of the brain, we can assume that a higher number of neurons equals more processing power, says Strauchens. But it's unclear why crows evolved to have so many interneurons, he says. No major studies analyzing the cognitive abilities of ostriches have been conducted so far, he adds. High interneuron numbers aren't enough to explain why crows have stronger cognitive abilities than most birds, says Strauchens. Other factors like the connectivity between neurons and receptor architecture also play a role, he says. It's an interesting and important study, says Pavel Nemec at Charles University in Prague, Czech Republic. The next frontier for research is to obtain such quantitative data from more species and test which neural features correlates best with cognitive abilities. And still, we're left with pretty smart crows. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.